Jai Narayani students, we are doing a lecture series of class 10 civics and the chapter name is federalism, and this is the fourth part of our lecture series. In this video lecture, we are going to study about the reasons for power sharing within states, what is decentralization, what are the ideas behind decentralization, and how is it done in India. So the first topic is why we need to share power within states. It means that why do we have to do the power sharing between state government and the third tier of government, that are the panchayats and the municipal corporations. So why do we need to do that? If you see, many of the Indian states are larger or even equal to many European countries. So we have Uttar Pradesh, we have Madhya Pradesh, we have Maharashtra, which are even larger than many European countries. So this much of area must be governed properly, and for that we need a third level of government in these states. We have uh, third tier of government that are called municipal corporations and gram panchayats. Also, if you see in terms of population, then if you talk about Uttar Pradesh, it is bigger than Russia in terms of population. And if you talk about Maharashtra, it is as big as Germany. So you see that many of the Indian states are even bigger or equal to the population of European and Asian countries. And therefore, to manage this large population, we need a third tier of government, which is very essential for proper administration of this much of large population. And the third reason is that states are internally very diverse. You know that for the sake of diversity, we have done division of power between the state government and the central government. And if anywhere in the world there is diversity in communities of a country, then there is a need of sharing power. So, if we are looking closely to the states, then within the state itself, we see that there are many diversities. The people living in the same states may have different religion, they may have different culture, they may have different languages, and also they have caste, they have different social status. So all these diverse population structures have to be properly dealt with, and therefore we need a local government, which is a government that is directly linked to these populations, and they can handle this diverse uh, uh, population of the states. So these are the three reasons. That's why we need a third level of government, and we need to share the powers of the states with that third level of government. Now let's come to the topic, what is decentralization? I already told you that due to the reasons given in the previous slide, we need to share power between the state government and the third level of government. This process is called decentralization. So when power is taken away from the center and the state governments and given to the local governments, it is called decentralization. Like in our country, the powers of the state governments have been given to the third level of government, that is municipal corporations and the gram panchayats, and therefore we have done decentralization in our country. What is the idea behind decentralization? Why do we need to give the power to the local governments from the state governments? Actually, there are a large number of problems that and issues which are best settled at the local level. People sitting in the office at Lucknow and people sitting in the office of Delhi, they cannot be actually aware of the real situation of a locality. So the people living in that local area, or you can say the local leaders, which are a part of the third level of government, are very well aware of the problems and the issues which are there. And so these problems can be best settled at the local levels by these third level of government elements. Also, there are people who are part of these third tier of government. They are from within our localities. They are from our local area, and therefore they have better knowledge of our problems, and also they have better ideas about how the money that is given by the state government or the central government for the sake of development of that area can be efficiently managed. So they have a better idea about how the money should be spent so that the maximum welfare of the population can be done. Also, if you see at the local level, it is possible for people to directly participate in the decision making, because you can directly visit your local leader. You can consult him or her about what you need in your locality, what are the problems that you are facing in your locality. But if you see that you cannot go to the member of parliaments which are from your area, and member of legislative assemblies that are from your area, but you can access your local leaders directly. In fact, they are living in your locality, so you can go there, you can discuss with them your problems, and therefore you can actually participate in the decision making process of the government, which is a very essential element of any good democracy. We have democracy, and people's participation is a essential element of democratic constructure. So how did this happen in India? I mean, how the decentralization was done in India? So in the Constitution of India, there was an amendment that was done in 1992, and a few major changes were done with regards to the arrangement of the local governments. Actually, the local governments, or you can say the gram panchayats and the municipal features, were already available in India. In fact, the gram panchayat system was available in India from the Vedic period itself. It is a very ancient system of Indian society, but these were not organized properly. These were not recognized in the Indian constitution. So there was a need to make them more stronger, and to give them power so that they can help the government to better manage the population and better use the resources of the country. So in 1992, amendment was done in the constitution, and these local bodies were given constitutional validity, and they were given some powers, and a few provisions were made with regards to them, which we are going to study in the next slides. So a major step toward decentralization was taken in 1992. The constitution was amended to make the third tier of democracy more powerful and effective. See here carefully that this is written, that the third tier of democracy was made more powerful and effective by this amendment, and not created by this amendment. So these bodies were already existing in India, but they were not so powerful or so effective. So this amendment was actually done to make them more powerful and effective. Now, what were the changes that were made in this amendment? How they made the third tier of government more powerful and effective? So let's see. First, that now the constitutional mandate was there to hold the regular elections to local government bodies. That means earlier to that, no local government bodies elections were held, and the people were elected or nominated by the state government itself. But now it was constitutionally mandatory that the regular elections will be held for the local government bodies. Also, for proper representation of the population, it was decided that the seats will be reserved for scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and other backward classes. Also, for women's representation, it was a provision that was made to have one-third reservation for women's in the local bodies, and an independent institution was established to conduct the elections of the third level of government, and it was called the State Election Commission. This State Election Commission is now in each state, and it is responsible for conducting panchayat and municipal elections regularly. And the last one is that the state government are required to share some powers and revenues with the local government bodies. Obviously, if a government is created, then it needs some resources, some revenues, and some powers to function. So the state governments were asked to share powers with this third level of government, and allow them to um, have some portion of the revenue of the state government so that they can function properly. The nature of sharing varies from the state to state. It means that in some states they have been given more power, and in some states the third tier of government is not so powerful. It is decided by the state government. It depends upon the policies of the state government, that how well they want to, or how better they want them to function, and how much they want to share the power with them. Because this gram panchayat and municipal corporation are a part of the state list, which we have discussed in the previous lectures, and therefore they come under the exclusive rights of the state government, and the central government cannot do anything about it. Now let's talk about what are the different local governments that are in India. So if you talk about rural local government, then we have Panchayati Raj system in rural areas as a third tier of government. In fact, each village or a group of villages, if the villages are small, then a group of villages may have a gram panchayat, and it is this gram panchayat is actually is a council of several ward members, and they are called panch, and there is a president of these ward members who is called the sarpanch. So an election is held, and the people elected from each ward are called panch, who are elected, and a president is elected who is sarpanch, and they decide. Actually, they are the decision-making body of the entire village, and they decide about the functioning of the village and about the local area, that how the funds given by the state government are to be better utilized for the welfare of the public of the village. Now there is another concept of Gram Sabha. In fact, the usual Gram Sabha consists of all the adult members of a village who are the voters. In fact, those who have voted for the Gram Panchayat elections, and they have been given a responsibility of supervising the functioning of the Gram Panchayats, and at least twice or thrice in a year they have to meet, and they have to approve the annual budget of the gram panchayat, and they can also review the performance of the gram panchayat. So the gram sabha consists of all the voters of the village, and they have a responsibility of holding a meeting at least twice or thrice in a year, and they have to approve the annual budget, and they have to review the performance of the Gram Panchayat. Then after the Gram Panchayat, there are Panchayat Samitis. A few Gram Panchayats are grouped together to form a Panchayat Samiti, or you can also call it a block or mandal. The members of the representative body, means the Panchayat Samiti, are elected by the Panchayat members itself, and all the Panchayat Samitis or mandals further form a Zilla Parishad, or you can say a district Parishad. Most members of the Zilla Parishad are elected, and some of them are appointed by the government. There are government officers. In fact, in the village also there are government officers, but in Zilla Parishad there are many government officials who are working. In fact, the people from that district who have been elected as a member of parliament and member of legislative assembly are automatically, they are by default a member of this Zilla Parishad. So Zilla Parishad chairperson is the political head of the Zilla Parishad, and it means that there is a chairperson who is the head of this Zilla Parishad. So we have seen that there are three tiers of system. First is the Gram Panchayat, the second level is the Panchayat Samiti, and at the top level there is Zilla Parishad, which consists of all the members of these Panchayat Samitis. If you talk about urban local government, then municipalities are set up in towns, and if the city is very big, then there are municipal corporation as a third tier of government. Now, these both are controlled by elected bodies. It means that the people elect by voting their local representatives, and they are the members of this municipality or the municipal corporation. You also may have your actually, if you know that your who is your local sabhasad, we call it in the sabhasad, who so that person of your locality is actually the member of municipal corporation. So there is also a mayor, or you can say municipal chairperson, and he or she is the political head of the municipality. So we have seen that there are municipal corporation in cities or municipalities in small cities or towns, and there are gram panchayats in panchayat samitis and zilla parishad, which are collectively called the panchayati raj system, which are prevailing in the rural areas for governing the local authorities, and therefore they are called the third tier of governments. Now there are a few difficulties that are faced by these local bodies, and it is very important from the exams point of view. The first one is that gram sabhas, which are responsible for supervising the functioning of the gram panchayats, and they have to approve the annual budget of the gram panchayat, as we have discussed in the previous slides. But they do not hold their meetings regularly. We also studied that they must have twice or thrice holding their meetings in a year. But at many of the places this is not happening. Actually, the people are so busy in their day-to-day work that they do not have time to hold these meetings. So the functioning of gram sabha, the purpose for which this gram sabha was created, has been actually not used properly, or they are not functioning as per the requirement, as per their purpose. Second is that most state governments have not transferred significant powers. As I have already told you, that it depends on the state government that how much power they want to share with the local governments, the third tier of government. And many of the state governments are not actually willing to share much power with them. So at many states, you see that these third tier of government are not very effective, they are not very powerful, and so they are not able to administer properly and efficiently. Third one is that they have not given adequate resources. Many of the state governments have not given them adequate resources so that they can do something at their local level by themselves, and they have to be dependent on the state governments for money, for funds, to develop their local area. So these are the three difficulties that they are facing, and therefore this has not been very effective. So thank you, students. This was it for today, and I hope that you have learned something. If you have any queries, you can ask in the live session. Thank you, students, and Jai Narayan.